This was with my ex-husband.
This is your profession.
There was half walls with holes in them, shit everywhere.
The average cleaning business, you can earn 300 to 600,000.
Why we don't do domestic cleaning.
So give us the most disgusting place that you've ever had to clean. What made it disgusting? You know, set the scene for me.
Okay, so actually this is not, I do have a few, but one that stands out for me is when I was a property developer. I didn't actually own the cleaning business at the time. My parents still were the owners of the cleaning business. And I bought this property to renovate. And the agent said it was off market and you know, he's like, just don't be alarmed was what he told me.
Inverted commas.
Don't be alarmed. Oh my God. I still remember, this was with my ex-husband and I still remember going there with my ex-husband and being like, what the fuck? And it was literally a combination. So it was a low set brick home and on the outside, it looked like it needed a little bit of TLC. But when we walked in, it was a combination of a hoarder's paradise. Someone had anger management issues. So there was half walls with holes in them, shit everywhere. The carpet,
literally,
as in not feces. Sorry, like just stuff, like stuff all over the floor, rubbish left in the house. The carpet was like half taken off.
What had gone on in there?
Well, again, it was in this suburb that we spoke about in the last episode.
I'd still love to know what suburb this is.
And back in the day, it was only, I think I was able to buy it for like, I think it was $115,000. Anyway, we did a massive reno on it and it turned out to be like so beautiful and we ended up making money on it because we just flipped it. But again, you know, we talk about making money on this podcast, not just funny stories about cleaning. And like, yes, you'll say to me, I can't find a house for $100,000 anymore. Whatever. That's not the point of the story. Like, buy the worst house that no one wants to touch because literally it was like, I don't remember how many dump runs. Like literally this would have been 20 years ago. Yep. No, maybe 15. And, yeah, we just made a ton of money because we didn't care what it looked like. It was a lot of work. So I would say for me personally, I would have to ask the rest of the crew. But for me personally, that was the worst thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, okay. I bet you've seen a few scenes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you're going in there and you see scenes like this, obviously you're charging extra for your services.
Well,
or not?
This was not like we were not, as I said, this was not with my cleaner's hat on. This was as my developer hat. So obviously I had to pay for everything. I paid.
Yeah.
But we didn't even get it cleaned because we ended up renovating it. So it doesn't matter. But some other really interesting stories of things that people have asked us to do as cleaners.
Yeah.
And then have said like, F you, essentially. We've had, once we had a builder who had finished building and he had a tower with 150 balconies. Now, unfortunately, the concreter was quite messy and there was concrete on
surely that isn't in the job description.
Well, surely it's a defect, right? Like surely the concreter should have cleaned up after himself. Obviously, they had their own stuff. He, the builder told us that we were the 10th cleaner that he had come in because no one wanted to do the job.
Yeah.
We were like, we can totally do it. However, I don't remember the price, but however, it's going to cost you X.
Yeah.
We can do all 150 balconies. However, it's going to take us this much time and this much money. And he was like, no, you just need to go to Bunnings and buy this product and clean my balconies. And we were like, well, you fucking do it then. Like, you know, so it's stuff like that where we're like, you are asking us for our professional opinion.
This is your profession. You know what you're doing.
And then he's clearly not. Like, he's just a tight ass not wanting to do it.
If you took their instructions, it wouldn't be done properly and then they'd moan at you anyway.
And they wouldn't pay the bill.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, if you know what you're doing, go to Bunnings yourself and do it for 150 balconies.
Yeah. So how many, you know, out of all your client base for Renova cleaning services, how many businesses try and tell you how to clean and what you're doing?
I mean, you know, I feel like now it's a lot less than what it used to be. I would say as a percentage, there's probably like 5 to 15% that really like it. And it's always little old bitty. Yeah. It's typically from the residential buildings. Yeah.
And just, you know, on the subject, this could be in any business. How do you personally deal with people telling you what to do in your own profession? What's What's, because obviously customer service is everything, and you don't want to just accept it though, because that means, not defeat, but, you're the professional in your industry. How would you deal with someone trying to tell you what to do? And this goes, for all the audience listening, this could go to any business, because you're going to get clients. They're going to think they know best, you know what to do, but actually more than them. How do you deal with that?
Look, we have a safe space in the team whereby we actually talk all the time. So the management team that deal with that kind of stuff, we talk every day to allow for us to download this kind of stuff. I have to say that my management team is extremely patient, more patient than I am, and they will actually just listen and they will let the person talk, because when someone feels heard, they give you less grief.
Yeah. Okay.
And so what they'll do is like little old Billy the other day that I was telling you about, the wooden spoon and the lift. If you haven't heard that episode, go back and listen. I don't know if you remember when I shared that with you. Essentially, the ops manager just let her talk, and he showed her, and I was like, man, you're so patient. He's like, yeah, but then she felt hurt and she just let me go.
Yeah.
And then we just did what we needed to do. And then she did pop in again and say, oh, you didn't do it the right way. But he's like, is it clean? So I think, a lot of the time people that are doing that to us, or that are projecting their knowledge, they're just a little bit bored. They don't have much to do during the day. We're the excitement of the day, and they want to feel heard and seen.
Micromanaging. And so there are obviously a lot of cleaning companies out there, and I know you are one of the best in the business. I've seen the reviews. I know the average time a client spends with you. What advice would you give to other cleaning companies who maybe aren't doing so well? What areas do you think they might be, they might need tightening up in?
I think what sets us apart is that in the cleaning industry, there are mum and dad operators, or you have the big boys. You have everyone knows ISS, everyone knows spotless cleaning. So you've got this mum and dad that are turning over $400 to $500 a year, and then you've got the big boys, and then you've got still a few companies our size, but we're not as many. And I think the difference is that because we provide that very professional service with systems and processes and procedures, but we also then give that mum and dad touch. That's the difference. So if you're not at our level and you're still at that mum and dad, and you're like, I want to get off the tools and I'm so tired, but then what tends to happen is they give up because the cleaners don't do it as better as them.
I get it. It's like a lot of businesses that I work with, they'll put a lot of sales and marketing out there and actually get the job in hand done to okay fit, but without your ducks lined up in a row, without good operations and all that fine tune, no job or no sales and marketing is going to work. You just have to get everything lined up, ready to go.
And I think too, this day and age, what really has happened with technology is that people have this perception that you can start a business and then you can go off and have cocktails for the rest of your life and never have touch points. And at the end of the day, that is not reality.
Yeah.
Anyone that is in business, most people that are in business that have even billion-dollar brands, they're still working in the business.
Of course.
And not in the business, but on the business, but they still have their finger on the pulse. And I think that's the key difference, is that people think that, I'm just going to set up this business. Coraline has all these cleaners and she doesn't do anything anymore.
Absolutely
She just takes the money. And that's the key difference. My dad, he's semi-retired, but he always says, I'm never going to retire. Yeah. Because one, I love the purpose.
Passion.
Correct.
You're not doing it because you have to. You're doing it because you want to. Of course, there is an element of having to do that because you want to stay ahead of the game. But and
no one's going to love your business. It's like your child. No one's going to love it more than you.
Exactly.
No, so I think it's about growing as a business owner. And there's going to come a time where you have to get off the tools, but then also putting trust. Just know that you're going to fail and you're going to lose a few clients during that evolution. Yeah. But just keep going.
Sure.
So, true story, I actually purchased the business from my parents 10 years ago. They were doing really well, but struggling with exactly that. They were working 50, 60-hour weeks. They were the last people to get paid. Their cash flow was horrible. And then, they were actually negative. They were actually in the red at the end of every month. And they just couldn't get out of that cycle. And I just think that not everyone understands or is made to take a business to the next level. And it's not for everyone. And I think that's why then I'm not saying I'm the best business person. I'm learning
You're pretty
every
good.
day. I'm learning every day, but I definitely do think that I know that I took that business to the next level. And if you are if you are like my mum and dad and you don't know how, then you either get a business partner that helps you, or you get someone like Jody that helps you take it to the next level. You will not be able to be everything, but there is a way to take your business to the next level.
100%.
And you just have to be with the right people.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like in any business, there's going to be stuff that it's not your best forte because you can't do everything.
No.
And that's where you get the team in, focus on what you do best, let everyone else manage the rest. And you can still oversee it in any business. But yeah, you've got to spend time working in the business and on the business and structure your days and you'll get there.
Yeah. I have to say, people say don't get into business with your family. And Dad and I've had many business partners in the past. I've been in business 20 years, most of whom have been absolutely horrible to deal with. And my dad has been my best business partner. And I say that because there is 100% trust, and we do not – we know our strengths and we both trust each other 100%, and we'll talk to each other about the decisions that we make. But it's if that's what you feel is right for operations, you do
That's
that.
awesome.
So I feel I have a newish business partners for the childcare businesses, and her and I are exactly the same. And I think whilst they do say you can't, recommend not to go into business with your family, as long as you have open communication and you have respect,
sure,
that's all you need.
But I think that's really what sets your business out from the rest, because your family have been in business for 38 years. You're clearly absolutely nailing it, and there aren't many credible companies out there that are all apart from the Von Trapp family singers, that are all out there doing things together and making a huge success of themselves. So that's amazing. Well done.
Thank you. Actually, speaking of family businesses, I have to say, the Asian cultures and the Indian cultures are cultures that I really look up to and try and do the same as them. They are always in family businesses and they always do so well. When it's a public holiday, who has their shop open? The Indians and the Asians, and they just always, everything stays within the family. Everyone works in the family business and they just grow their wealth together, and and people wonder how they do it, but they do it as a family unit.
Yeah, amazing.
And, I think that's really cool, and I take a lot of inspiration from what they create, because they do a lot of things together.
Well, that is incredibly insightful, and I hope it gives our audience a bigger vision and ideas there if you're kind of stuck on what to do next. We're not saying you have to go into business with your family, but there's, not. As we were saying, it's very easy to set up. You only need a few tools, and as I say, just get in, get started, and you can fine-tune everything from there.
Definitely. I think, as I said, we're in 2025. There are so many opportunities. Cleaners are needed. People need
demand.
You. Yeah, there's a huge demand in every capital city, in every regional city. Go and get a broom.
Go and get a broom.
Go get a vacuum cleaner. And, if I can say anything to you is who cares what anyone thinks? Don't worry about your ego. Your ego will be oh my God, I was sitting in my beautiful office in the city and now I'm cleaning someone's toilet.
But hold on,
more money.
Let's just talk about the figures one more time. The average, and we're talking average cleaning business, you can earn 300 to 600,000. So go out there and get a bloody broom.
Yeah, totally. Do it. Do it now. We'll see you next week.
Up next on Dirty Scrubber.
Well, don't get a clean, because domestic cleaners are so expensive now.
Everyone's going to be different.
Spread your legs, girl. Cleaners are not turning up on time.
Is that just laziness?